Hi, everyone. I got started a little bit early because. So I want to make sure everything is good. I think my audio should be good. And I think we're okay. Let me check on the chat. Hi, Carol. Thanks for being here so much, Carol. Your support means so much, honestly. I appreciate you. I appreciate you and Lizzie so much, honestly. Oh my gosh, sorry, nose itch. I made a latte this morning, everybody. I made it myself. I've made one before, but I recently got my newest Nespresso shipment and I ordered like a holiday or a Christmas package, meaning the flavors. So there's like peppermint and gingerbread and I usually get the coffees. So instead of the coffee, one of the ones they sent me was a double espresso, and when you make a double, it's, like, very little, you need to add a lot of milk to it to get it to be like an 8-ounce drink that, you enjoy, um, for a longer amount of time, and I I was very creative. My Nespresso machine has the ability to steam milk, but I get nervous using it just because I was reading so many reviews that sometimes it gets clogged and the maintenance is so high on it. So I decided to I have a hot chocolate maker. So I heated my milk and frothed it and everything in my hot chocolate maker. Beautiful. It's beautiful. So here's my latte in my festive cup. Drinking it early today because boy, we might need it. We might be needing it. Oh my goodness. Carol, what did I think of the tree? I don't know which tree. Is it on Instagram? You guys, I had a rough yesterday was kind of rough for me. Let me check. Oh, it's beautiful. Thanks for sharing this, Carol. That's so sweet. I love it. Is this in your home? On your personal profile. Okay, so I looked at my messages and I saw a message from you, but let's go look at your profile too. Aw, love it. And there's Bogey. I'm gonna go like a bunch of your posts, Carol. That food looks delicious, Carol. Ooh, that pasta. Hi, Shifty. It wow, 1 a.m. for you? Thank you so much for being here. Wow. Yeah, today is it. Here is the culmination of everything we've been watching. Let me share my screen now so you can all see that they have the majestic clock on display. Let me get that set up. Is it this one? Let's check. And I need to make this like this, right? Yeah, there we go. Let me make sure I like it. Good. I don't want to take up too much of the screen. It's good. It's good. It's good. Someone asked if I can make this darker, and I don't think I can. I looked in the settings, and I don't think I can do it. Hi, Agatha. Good morning. Let me make sure I have my audio ready here. Yep, that audio is on. I will learn from my mistakes. I will learn from my mistakes. Good morning, Sue. Are you all ready? This today is going to be sad, I think, everybody. I um I watched the victim impact statements in the Idaho 4 case, the 4 university students that were murdered, and I could only watch a couple of them because it breaks your heart, you know? And I imagine it's gonna be the same. I was watching some reviews that said it's possible that we might be hearing from the children, but through an intermediary. So they're, I think they said like a social worker type might be the person speaking for the children. I wonder if Anna's mom or sister might say something. Jem, I wonder if Jem and Alyssa will speak. So we'll see. Yeah, Shifty. Shifty says impact statements are so visceral and painful. Yeah, they're very, it's hard to watch. Um, and yeah, Carol says probably a letter written by the children and social worker will be read out loud. I want to ask everyone. I know Agatha, it's gonna be hard to watch. I want to ask everyone. So I went back and I remastered the footage of Brian's first interview with Officer Schmidt. Would you be interested if I did a reaction to that and posted it? Let me know. Part of me is like, well, the trial's already passed. I don't know how interested people would be. But then at the same time, we always talk about old cases and things. So Shifty says no. You don't want to hear it. I think I kind of still want to hear it because we might hear things in hindsight that are like most true crime is old cases. Yeah. Yeah, Shifty. It is. Did I pronounce it right, Agatha? I hope I pronounced it right. Oh, you wouldn't mind. Okay, Shifty. Thank you. Okay, well, that's good to know. Um, I'll I'll do a reaction to that. I think it puts the clearly Brian has pled guilty to misleading the police, and that's the first interaction we had with the police. So, okay, Carol says, unless there is a new analysis, you can bring that we didn't pick up before. It totally might be because I remember the audio was so bad. And then I have the second interview too, and the second one is where you can hear Diana talking in the back. And I don't know why we never heard Diana's interview. I wish we heard hers because she was protecting the kids. Um, oh my goodness, I can't remember who it was, and I'm sorry that I'm not crediting. High five. Sorry if I'm not crediting, but there was someone who mentioned it might have been TMTB. I'm not sure that um, Officer Buchanan he interviewed Diana and he testified in one of the pretrial hearings, I want to say, about that interview and how the 6-year-old was there and the way Diana was acting. So that's another one that I could try to bring up. Yeah. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm thinking after, depending on what time we're done here, I'm thinking to maybe go through the latest on the Reiner family tragedy. So let me all know if that's something that you would be interested in us doing. Oh, also everybody, I created a Facebook account. It's like brand new. Brand new. It has one post on it. It's the same revealing the narc. I don't even have a link to it because I made it on my phone. Um, but yeah, if you're on Facebook and you feel like joining, please let me know. So, everybody, yesterday was rough for me, guys. I got an email from TikTok saying my creator rewards are my account is false, and it's not a lot of money. I don't know, couple hundred a month, but I had been hoping on growing it, and they said it's because my content is unoriginal, that I'm basically reposting other people's stuff. And that coupled with the video that I posted yesterday talking about the Daily Mail, and there were comments under that Daily Mail video like, "Oh, well, you stole it from someone else." Well, they didn't say the words "you stole," but the implication was, "Well, you are taking your content is not original." So it was just, oh my gosh, like, I had a hard night last night. Like, I started questioning it. Should I even be doing this? Am I good at this at all? Like, am I bringing any quality, um, content and value? And I woke up this morning and here we are, and TikTok reversed their decision. Like, so TikTok gave me 12 hours of stress, like complete stress. And they also said whatever I earned in December when they disqualified me, they said whatever I earned in December, they're keeping that money. I don't get that money, and it's just, and I was reading that this is happening to a lot of creators on TikTok. TikToks, mine was nothing. Mine was a couple $100, but there are people on TikTok that lost thousands, thousands, and TikTok won't pay them. It's terrible. It's terrible. Thank you, Shifty. I appreciate it. And my content, yes, I use someone else's clip. I use clips from the news that are available publicly, and the amount of editing that goes into making a 10 or 15-second clip is hours, It's not, yeah, it's not like they show up. I have to Every time I make one of those clips, I look at it frame by frame. I zoom in on Megan, I zoom back on Megan, I zoom in on where her hand is, where Harry is, where they're looking. So, and I have to do that for the entire event or whatever I'm looking at so that I can find all the spots where something happened. So, what I want to say is that my stuff is original, transformed content that has my commentary. Even if I may not be speaking words, my commentary is what I zoom in on, is what I slow down, it's what I'm trying to emphasize. And I think that's just going to be the trick. I think I just need to talk in the video and I need to say, this is what I see. I think that's what I need to do. And even then, like, I'm hearing like, no, you need to um freeze the video and then resume the video again. And by the way, on TikTok, they're 1-minute videos. Like, to do all of this editing for a 1-minute video is just, yeah. Thank you, Agatha. That's the beautiful part of the American copyright. You can use clips to make something new out of it. We don't have that here. Yeah, and it's fair use. I'm providing commentary. It's transformed content that I like. Someone in my comments said, "Oh, you created them." And they put create in quotation marks. And it's like, I did though. I don't know. It made me feel like maybe it's not valuable what I'm doing. Like, it made me think like, okay, starting tomorrow, maybe I need to go back to being a scientist again. But I don't want to. I want to do this. I love this. Yeah, most people don't know how much editing is involved. That's true, Agatha. It really is. It really is. I mean, I want to say one 20-minute video that I post on YouTube, it's probably a half an hour of research minimum, then half an hour of recording, maybe more, then a solid hour or 2 on editing, and then getting a thumbnail, getting a description, getting a title, getting all of that up, and then, one of the big things they say is that the very first hour you post a video is very helpful to comment immediately. So then I spent an hour refreshing the page and commenting to people as fast as I can. Um, of course, it's great also to be interacting with people. I'm not saying that's the only reason I do it. It's nice to be able to comment on people as people are watching it, and I do that beyond that 1 hour. But it's just, I mean, look how many hours that is, and that's just one video, and I still need to make the shorts, and I still try to make TikToks, and I still wanna make things on revealing the crime, and I still want to hold live streams. It's it can be rough, but, I am so thankful because the majority of people are saying everything you are all saying. So, thank you. Hi, Ivy of House Bark. It looked like they were about to start when I started talking, but they didn't. So, does anyone have plans? What are everyone's plans for the rest of the day? Carol says it takes hours to do fashion, which includes gathering the information, distributing the information, finding the pictures, doing the editing. Yep, and creating the collage. Yeah, yeah. Hi, Meow. I'm glad you're on a break. Hopefully you can stick around for a long time. Oh, thank you, Shifty, for the music. I have to tell you, the music is the easiest, and let me explain. TikTok automatically, I don't know, they sense what the movement is in the video, and they automatically recommend a couple of songs that go along with it. So the majority of the music on my TikTok videos or the shorts comes from, excuse me, TikTok. The longer videos that are 1 minute, the short videos that are 1 minute, those I use AI music, but the ones that are 10, 15 seconds long, that is all TikTok. And that's the confusing thing. Those short videos, the 10, 15-second videos, those have a different, policy on YouTube. So, it's easier to post certain types of music in shorts versus what you do in long form videos. I'm not sure exactly why that is, but yeah, that's what it is. I wonder if Dateline is gonna be about this case. Aw, thank you. Thanks to Meow. Oh, I've ruined the magic, Shifty. I don't wanna take credit for something I didn't. Okay, and Shifty, there's a reason I do that, because I found before that when I would use regular music on my 1-minute videos. Okay, so let me explain. On TikTok, your videos are only monetized if they're 1 minute or longer. So for my short clips, it doesn't matter what music I play, but for those 1-minute videos, they come after you for the music. So that's why in those longer videos, I use AI music so I don't get in trouble.
Hear. All present submitting for the Honorable Diane Fernandez, Justice of the Norfolk Superior Court. Ron Mayer, to your attendance, shall be heard. Look at the call of Massachusetts, the Norfolk Court. Please be seated for counsel.
Your Honor, in the matter of the Commonwealth versus Brian Walsh, Norfolk Superior Court Criminal Indictment Number 2023-0091. Defendant and counsel present in court. Defendants represented by Attorney Larry Tipton and Attorney Kelly Porges. Commonwealth is represented by Attorney Greg Connor, Attorney Ann Yaz, and Attorney Tracy Cusick. Counsel, starting with the Commonwealth, kindly identify yourselves for the court and the record.
Good morning, Your Honor. Greg Connor for the Commonwealth.
Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. Ann Yas for the Commonwealth.
Good morning.
Morning, Your Honor. Tracy Cusick for the Commonwealth.
Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. Good morning, everyone. Kelly Porges on behalf of Mr. Walsh.
Good
Good
morning.
morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
Larry Tipton for Mr. Walsh.
Please be seated. All right, I have two motions up here, one from each of you, and I'll address those in a minute.
You are unmuted.
So let me start by, excuse me, taking a drink of water. Let me start by listing what the court has reviewed in preparation for this sentencing to make sure that everything you think that I have reviewed, I have in fact received and reviewed. So I've received the parties' sentencing memos. That comprises one sentencing memo submitted, I think, yesterday or the day before, late in the day before, from the Commonwealth. The defense has provided a sentencing memo along with a supplement that I received this morning. I think that was filed yesterday after the close of the business day. I also have received various victim impact statements in writing, to include victim impact statement on behalf of the three minor children from the Department of Children and Family Services, DCF. I've also received victim impact statements written from Melissa Kirby and from Peter and Pam Kirby. And I sought out and shared with the parties and have reviewed various sentencing commission information, as well as guideline calculation from probation, as well as Mr. Walsh's carry and triple I, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And I've now just received and will review, prior to deciding my sentence, a letter from Diana Walsh. As an initial matter, is there anything that the parties submitted that I didn't just now list that you expected me or want me to review before sentencing? Comma first.
Your Honor, there will be a victim impact statement given by Anna's sister, Alexandra Dimitrich, and she's prepared to give that to the court.
Okay, but as far as written materials, any other written materials that you are hoping me to review before I impose sentence?
No other written materials, and I just want to note that FTR is not on at this point in time, and I don't know if the court needs that on. I know we have a court reporter and we're in good hands, but sometimes we've been running both.
All right, I thank you for pointing that out. We do, when we have the court reporter, that is the primary method of memorializing the events, but always good to have a backup, and I see that Madam Clerk has put it on now. For the defense, are there any other written materials that you wish the court to review?
You have everything.
All right, let me just take a moment to review this letter.
I'll have to look into that TMTB Diana's letter from the fraud case. Does anyone know how long these sentencing hearings go? She was beyond codependent with Brian. Wow, TMTB. Not surprising, right? He's having a conversation with himself in his head. The way he's like moving his head, like. Okay, Shifty says depends on how long the victim impact statements go. So it sounded like Anna Walsh's sister is there in person.
Okay, we are waiting for the judge who's overseeing some of the impact letters right now, the impact statements that will be read. She's determining if some will or will not be read. But as of right now, she's saying that there will be some impact statements on behalf of the three minors, Brian Walsh's children, as she's been overlooked from child services, of course. Also, Alexandra, Anna's sister, is in the courtroom and does want to speak on behalf as well.
So we're listening right now to the judge, and it's a bit of a silence because she just received, and now she's reviewing live here in the
You guys,
newsroom.
I think
in this,
I have to
we're
mute
watching in the
this.
newsroom and seeing her in the courtroom. The judge reading the letter from Diana.
I think I need to mute this because that's their coverage. But I will turn it on here and there. Thank you, Charlie. Hi, Charlie.
To the three
See,
children.
they're still talking. Just don't want to get in trouble, you know. This was supposed to be the public feed that was being broadcast by NBC 10, but I don't know at what point, like now they are talking. Is it considered public still? I don't know, but we will be safe, and I will keep unmuting and muting to make sure we get it right.
Case went on.
Not yet. Not yet. Not much on the defense's table and so much on the prosecution's. I mean, at this point, what is the defense going to do? Are his toes like pointed? No, those were her feet. I thought his toes were pointed inwards. Yeah. Good morning, Lisa. Lisa, I saw your comment. I didn't get a chance to respond to it. I think, Lisa, it was you, about notifying people 30 minutes. Yeah, footloose moment, Shifty. About notifying people 30 minutes before the verdict. I didn't see that there was even a 30-minute notice. It was just all of a sudden, the judge came and said, we have a verdict. So apologies on that. Hi, Jen J. Okay, let me unmute really quick.
Get national attention.
No, there's still the reporters are talking. Oh, I want to hear what they're
Murder
saying.
charges. We're looking at an image of Anna Walshe. We're also seeing, on the other side of the screen, Brian Walsh speaking with his attorneys. We know that this case has been postponed multiple times. He was even attacked in jail, in custody at one point, and they wanted to delay the start of the trial, but it eventually did pick up, and we here at NBC 10 Boston covered it. We encourage you to join us tonight at 7 p.m. for our final installment of Commonwealth Confidential with our anchor.
It makes me so sad to see the pictures of them together, right? Because they look so happy. Okay, here we go,
the
everybody.
Commonwealth's presentation of whatever victim impact statements that you wish me to hear orally.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Commonwealth would ask Alexandra Dmitrovic to address the court. Would you like her at the witness stand or from the podium?
In the witness stand.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. You may be seated.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, Your Honor. Good morning, everyone. My name is Alexandra Dmitrievich, and I'm the sister of Anna Walshe. I am here today to represent myself and my mother. I want to share with the court how losing my sister in January 2023 has forever changed our lives and left us with an unbearable emptiness. Losing my sister Anna so unexpectedly has altered our world in ways we never imagined. Anna was not just my sister. She was someone I grew up with, someone who knew me in ways no one else ever will. I struggle with the grief that comes without warning, hoping every morning that this is all just a terrible dream. The most painful part of this loss is knowing her children must now grow up without their mother's hand to hold. They now face a lifetime of milestones, big and small, where her absence will be deeply and painfully felt. This tragedy has also devastated my mother. She has developed severe depression and chronic exhaustion. Every single day, she carries the weight of losing her daughter. Our entire family is still learning how to live with this emptiness. Holidays and birthdays are now silent reminders of her absence. Because of the circumstances of my sister's death, we were denied the opportunity to say a final goodbye and to observe our customs, adding a layer of profound, unfinished grief to our loss. Anna was a mother, a daughter, a sister, and a friend. Her life was unfairly taken. We miss her beyond words. While we recognize that no sentence can bring her back, we ask the court to consider the permanent, long-lasting impact this loss has had on our family, especially her children. We stand in agreement with the Commonwealth and their recommendations. Finally, I would like to extend our deepest gratitude to the investigators, the Commonwealth's office, and everyone who has worked tirelessly on this case. Your dedication to seeking justice for my sister has provided our family with a sense of support during our darkest hours. Your Honor, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share the full weight of this incomprehensible act. Anna will never be forgotten. We will carry her light and her memory with us forever. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Here.
Yes. Sorry.
Your Honor, we have no other victim impact statements other than the ones that we've submitted in writing.
All right. Thank you.
Did any of you notice any sadness or anything in Brian when she
I have
walked away?
read the Commonwealth sentencing recommendation, the written recommendation, but I'll have you state it on the record.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Commonwealth is requesting that the defendant be sentenced to a series of consecutive sentences on the charges to run from and after his federal case, in which he received a sentence of 37 months in February of 2024. The first charge that the Commonwealth would seek an incarceration component on is count 003, and that the defendant be sentenced to 2.5 to 3 years. The second charge would be that he, on the misleading 002, to run from and after 003, that he receive a sentence of 18 to 20 years. And that the third charge, the murder and the first degree, that the defendant be sentenced to life without the possibility of parole to run from and after 003 and 002. And Your Honor, if I may be heard in our argument.
Please.
Thank you, Your Honor. When you look at the facts of these three charges, each one calls for a harsh penalty. If you look at the illegal conveyance of a body, the defendant did not just, the person that he illegally conveyed was his wife and the mother of his 3 children. And he did it by removing her remains from the family home and placing them in buckets, in garbage bags, and dumpsters around the Commonwealth. He denied, as you just heard, her family the opportunity to have any customs or burial. There is no grave, there is no memorial. And he did this all in an effort to destroy evidence. On the misleading component, Your Honor, while we do mention the potential of probation, we put that in there only as data so that you understand the efforts that went in to trying to find Anna based on the defendant's series of lies. These lies were all done in an effort to cover up his crime and destroy evidence. We're also, while we put in that, we are not seeking a probation sentence, but we put it in there so the court, if it wanted to contemplate one, understood there was an option to do it that would prevent the defendant potentially from trying to profit from this.
So the only mechanism for me, as I see it anyway, the only mechanism for me under the restrictions of state law,
Yes, Your Honor.
it's an either or situation. That is, either I incarcerate him for an additional period of time, either concurrent or consecutive, or I put him on probation following the life sentence, or maybe it even starts today. But the only way that restitution can be achieved on count 2 is through a probationary sentence. So I don't think there's any other mechanism for me doing that. So I don't know how you achieve that goal if without a probationary sentence and mandating it as a condition of probation. And so I wanted the Commonwealth to be clear with me. You're making note of it in passing, but you are not asking me to put him on a probationary sentence. Is that correct?
We are not, Your Honor. It is data that you can use in order to determine the scope of his lies in which the police relied on them. And you can see the costs that went into investigating the disappearance of Anna Walshe, but we are not asking for probation on this matter.
And the same question with regard to the issue of restitution that I heard rumblings of yesterday.
Yes, Your Honor.
Same result?
Same result. It is, again, it's data for you in determining your sentence, but we are not asking for it.
All right, just wanted to be clear on that.
Thank you, Your Honor. And then on the murder, again, this was the murder of his wife and the mother of his 3 children. And the cover-up of this murder, Your Honor, deserves some analysis. If you look at the first internet search, which occurred at approximately 4:52 a.m. on the 1st, how to dispose of a body, and how they evolve into eventually 11:24 a.m., how to dispose of body parts after a murder, it appears the defendant at this point in time is committed to getting rid of evidence of the crime. And it leads to the shopping sprees later on that night at Lowe's and CVS and Stop and Shop. However, if you look at the internet searches on the second, how to dismember a body, and is a hacksaw the best tool to dismember a body? It's a reasonable inference he hasn't started the action yet. And it results in the second shopping spree to Home Depot that afternoon, which means that Anna Walshe has been dead in that basement for over 24 hours. The same home his children are in, the same home the babysitter's at, the same home his mother has come to visit. And in the evening between the second and the third is when the dismemberment occurs. And on the third, we see him going to dumpsters, getting rid of the remains. In the defendant's sentencing memo, and I want to note, the defendant was represented by two excellent lawyers who are titans in this industry, who I have the highest respect for. They say the Commonwealth's recommendation is inhumane. I suggest that that's not the appropriate word choice, because if we were to look at that word, I would suggest that describes the defendant's actions and the depravity of his actions of murdering his wife, dismembering her, and getting rid of her remains by throwing her away like garbage. The question might become whether or not this is a cruel and unusual punishment that the Commonwealth is recommending. And I direct your honor to one case. It's Cepulonis, CEPULONIS versus the Commonwealth, 384 Mass 495 at 497. It's a 1981 case. To reach the level of cruel and unusual punishment, the punishment must be so disproportionate to the crime that it shocks the conscience and offends the notion of human dignity. I don't know if that's possible in this case, Your Honor, because human dignity was completely offended by the defendant's actions and how he treated his wife, how he disposed of her, and how he robbed her family and friends of the opportunity to bury her. There is no death certificate. The church will not allow a funeral to go on at this point in time. We are working on trying to work with the ME's office to see if we can get a death certificate to issue now based on the conviction and based on the plea. And when I looked behind me after the closing arguments, I realized that that was the closest thing that those people had come to a wake, because they never got together to mourn her. And that happened 3 years later. So with that, Your Honor, the Commonwealth does make a punishment that we recommend to you. We recognize it's harsh, but we think it's appropriate based on the facts. I appreciate your time, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll hear from the defense.
With respect to the first-degree murder conviction, although we made it clear from our memorandum that we do object to a life without parole sentence based on state and U.S. constitutional grounds, based on the Eighth Amendment, we understand the court has no discretion. With respect to indictments 2 and 3, you do. I think inhumane is the right word, respectfully. To sentence someone to prison posthumously to send a message is humane. It's dehumanizing him. Regardless of what happened in this courtroom, regardless of the convictions, regardless of what anyone believes about this person, he is a human. He is a father, he is a son, and he has been a friend to many. The life sentence is mandatory, but to do consecutive sentences, I think is inappropriate and is inhumane. Anytime there is a death, a murder, a loss of life, it is horrible, whether it's a loved one or a stranger. And the legislature has provided, regardless of our disagreement, that a life sentence without parole is mandatory. But that does not negate that he is a human being. And I don't think sentencing him to on and after time is appropriate. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. What he was convicted of were atrocious acts. We've heard from her family, we've heard from her friends. Their pain is unimaginable, and I'm not demeaning that, but I have the opportunity to speak for Brian today. And I'm asking the court to sentence him in line with the guidelines and with the purpose of sentencing. Punishment, justice, prevention of future crimes, consecutive sentences, that's excessive and it doesn't meet those needs. So I'd ask the court to adopt the defendant's sentencing recommendation.
Just want to put on the record that the defendant, in making its argument with regard to the inhumane aspect of any consecutive sentences, cited to a case in its brief, Donovan. Donovan does not apply to this case. As an initial matter, Donovan related to a larceny involving a single act that resulted in 7 different victims being victimized. The SJC, that was I think a 1985 case. The appellate courts in Massachusetts have long since distinguished Donovan, even in the case of larcenies, which is not the case that's before me, to recognize that even Donovan relates only to a single act case and not one with one purpose. As you could argue, there was one purpose here, but more than one discrete offense. So I'm not persuaded by the logic of Donovan, even if it applied to this case, and even if it was as broad-reaching as the defense suggests in its sentencing memo, which the court finds it is not. There is no task facing a judge that is more important or more difficult than crafting an appropriate sentence. The legislature mandates that the only appropriate sentence for the jury's verdict, murder in the first degree, is life in prison without the possibility of parole. That sentence is immensely appropriate and just, given your murderous acts and the life trauma that you've inflicted upon your own children. As to counts 2 and 3, I have wide discretion in sentencing. I want to state my rationale for your sentences on those 2 counts on the record now. I have considered various factors with regard to my sentence for counts 2 and counts 3, to which you pled guilty on November 18th, 2025. Specifically, I've considered the severity of the crimes, their nature and circumstances, and your role in those crimes, the need to deter others from committing comparable crimes, and your prior criminal record, namely your federal fraud case. As to the latter, Your criminal history shows a long and well-documented history of deceitful and manipulative behavior. I've considered your character or lack thereof, your behavior, and your background. With regard to the nature and circumstances of the offenses, as to indictment 002, in the approximately 4 hours of interviews spanning 4 days, you concocted a detailed, completely fabricated story of what happened to Anna Walsh on January 1st, 2023, in order to cover up your murder of her and disposal of her body. Your lies triggered a multi-day, extensive missing persons investigation. A command center was set up in Cohasset and was manned by various law enforcement, to include the Cohasset Police Department and the Massachusetts State Police. And local and Massachusetts resources were deployed to Washington, D.C. to investigate at Anna's home. Because of your lies, thousands of hours of investigative resources were wasted and diverted from other deserving cases and investigations. As to the nature and circumstances of count 3, the improper disposal of Anna Walsh's body, the seriousness of your acts cannot be overstated. Your acts in dismembering your wife's body and disposing of her remains in multiple area dumpsters can only be described as barbaric and incomprehensible. You had no regard for the lifelong mental harm that your criminal acts inflicted on your then 2, 4, and 6-year-old sons, not only in taking their mother, but also, as is specific to this charge, in never being able to properly grieve that loss, to say goodbye to their mom. And I hear today the same is equally true of a sister who never was able to say a proper goodbye to her sister, a mother who never was able to say a proper goodbye to her daughter, and many friends who had the same loss. As to indictments 2 and 3, I have considered the sentencing guidelines, the aggravating factors. There are no mitigating factors in this case. And I also sought out and considered information from the Massachusetts Sentencing Commission, again, which I shared with the parties earlier this week, in particular sentencings in 2022 and 2023 of defendants who were convicted of murder and or voluntary manslaughter, along with a Chapter 268, Section 13B conviction. This is not a guideline case. Finally, as to the first-degree murder conviction, I have considered the loss of the life of an innocent, remarkable woman, Anna Walsh, and its devastating impact on her children, as relayed to me in the letter from DCF, her family, as relayed to me in her sister's victim impact statement today, friends in their victim impact statements, and the community. In the trial testimony of Jem Mutlu and Alyssa Kirby, a little bit of Anna Walsh, her warm, powerful, and embracing spirit came to life in this historic courtroom. I have carefully listened to the moving victim impact statement, to the oral written sentencing arguments made by the Commonwealth and by Mr. Walsh. It's clear to me that Anna was a bright light in the lives of many people. She lifted people up. I am sure that nothing I say and no sentence I can impose, even a life sentence, will lessen the grief that Anna Walsh's family, her mother, sister, and 3 boys, extended like family, confidants, friends, and others have endured and will continue to endure. Although I consider the letter of Diana Walsh, I simply cannot reconcile the person Diana Walsh describes in her letter with the person who stands before me for sentence. Mr. Walsh, you can stand. Mr. Walsh, you will live with the guilt and burden of Anna Walsh's death for the rest of your life. As to count one, the jury having convicted you of murder in the first degree, I sentence you to life in prison without the possibility of parole. As to indictment 2, lying to the police in connection with the investigation of a life felony, I sentence you to no less than 19 years, no more than 20 years, the statutory maximum, in prison to be served consecutive to the life sentence in 001. The legislature caps the maximum sentence for the improper disposal of a body at 3 years in state prison. As to indictment 003, the improper disposal of the body of your wife, Anna Walsh, I sentence you to no less than 2 years, 364 days, and no more than 3 years in state prison to run consecutive to the sentences in 001 and 002. I want to make one other notation with regard to the sentences that I'm giving today. Earlier in this case, I identified that there was an error in Mr. Walsh's III. That error persists to today. Specifically, so the record is clear, as I understand Mr. Walsh's prior federal sentence, he was sentenced to 37 months in federal prison. That sentence was to run concurrent with any state sentence that was given in this case. This morning, I asked probation to run his III again, and it is still incorrect. It is showing a 5-year probationary sentence. At my direction, the probation department in the last month, or perhaps a little bit longer, contacted the federal probation office in Boston to correct what I think is an obvious error in his III. It has not been corrected, and it stands still today as showing 5 years of probation as the sentence. To the extent that confuses anything in my sentencing, I want the record to reflect that, again, it's my understanding he was sentenced to 37 months in federal prison to run concurrent with this sentence that I'm now imposing today. Madam Clerk, you may impose the sentence.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Walsh, a jury having returned a guilty verdict on charge 1, murder in the first degree, you were sentenced to the state prison for the term of your natural life. Count 2, witness intimidation, you having entered a guilty plea to that, sir, you're sentenced to 20 years, 19 years, not less than 19, not more than 20 years, to run from and after your life sentence on count 1. On count 3, improper disposal of a body, you're sentenced to not less than 2 years and 364 days and not more than 3 years to run from and after the sentence on count 2. You will receive 1,076 days credit for time deemed served while awaiting the disposition of this matter. All fees and fines in this matter are waived. You're all set, Mr. Walsh. Thank you.
Thank you, counsel.
And there you have it, the conclusion of the Brian Walshe murder trial. He was just sentenced by Judge Diane Frenier live here on NBC 10 Boston.
Life in prison with no parole after the first-degree murder sentence, guilty, that we learned.
Okay, everyone, I'm going to leave it muted, but still have it playing just in case they're going to talk outside the courthouse. I saw Brian's mom there. I also saw Officer Schmidt. Did you guys see him? I saw him in the back. I saw Anna's sister, and they were behind Diana Walsh, which was surprising to me that they were that close and not on the other side of the aisle. So just to recap, the judge gave him for Anna's murder, the first degree guilty charge. He got a life sentence without the possibility of parole. For the conveying, I'm pretty sure for the conveying of the, I got confused. Which one was it that he got 19? No less than 19 years, no more than 20. I think that was the conveying of the human body. And for misleading the police, no less than 2 years and no more than 3 years. All of these sentences being served consecutively, meaning back to back. And there was also mention of his other federal case, which appears to be in official documents, is not relayed correctly. It says 5 years of probation, even though it's supposed to be 37 months in prison. So I believe they're going to be fixing that. And there was mention of something like 1,000 days of credit for time served. But honestly, if it's life without the possibility of parole, I don't see how credit would matter so much. No, 3. See, this is okay, Lisa. So it was 3 years. So 19 years, no less than 19 years, no more than 20 for the misleading the police, and no less than 2 years and no more than 3 years for conveying of the body. And now this is what I was surprised about, because I thought the conveying of the body would have a much, I don't know, greater charge. I don't know. Okay, everyone, I'm going to stop sharing this because I think that's it. I don't know if we're going to hear from anyone, if anyone is going to come on the court steps. I did see that on Monday, the lead prosecutor, he did speak. Yeah, she threw the book at him. She was very eloquent with what she said. And yeah, those poor families, those poor children. Yeah. Yeah, well, everybody, we saw it from beginning to end pretty much. Yeah. Agatha says 3 years is still not much, but appropriate. Okay, Agatha's saying, but let's say you help your buddy get rid of a body, then it's appropriate. Good night, Shifty. Thanks for being here, Shifty. Okay, it looks like right now on that NBC channel that we were watching, they're showing a completely different show. If you are all interested, do you want to look at the updates in the Rob Reiner case? Let me know in the comments if that is interesting to you. And let me turn this off really quick. Okay. Okay, Agatha says yes. Yes. Okay. Let me get that prepped. Okay, everyone, let me share my screen. You guys, I'm going to do a quick intro really quick because I will then clip this out and put it as a different video. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Revealing the Crime. We are going to go through the latest updates in the Reiner family tragedy. And this is being recorded during a live stream, so you will see some chats happening. Viewer discretion is advised as these topics are disturbing. So what I'm going to do right now is share with you the latest news that has been released. So let me share my screen. Let's see. Okay, everybody. So we have quite a few articles to look through. I'll go to this one first. Posted December 18, so that is today. The title is Reiner Family Bombshell as Insiders Reveal Who's Paying for Nick's Celebrity Lawyer, Their Secret Motive, Who Will Really Inherit the $200 million Fortune. It begins, it says, in his immaculately tailored suit, an English spread collar shirt, pocket square in his breast pocket, lawyer Alan Jackson stood on the steps of Los Angeles Superior Court with a furrowed brow, holding forth with the assembled media. Only minutes earlier, his client, 32-year-old Nick Reiner, had made his first appearance before a judge to be charged with the murder of his Hollywood celebrity parents, director Rob Reiner, 78, and wife Michelle, 68. Jackson, who once prosecuted music producer Phil Spector for murder before going into private practice, taking on recent clients such as Harvey Weinstein and Kevin Spacey, is one of America's highest paid criminal defense attorneys, easily raking in more than $2,000 an hour. So this is the big bucks, right, everybody? $2,000 an hour. And this article doesn't mention Karen Reed, which I'm surprised about because that's when I really noticed Alan Jackson. The article says, with Nick Reiner's case guaranteed to take at least 3 months, even if he enters a plea of insanity, Jackson is in line for a significant payday. But asked how he came to represent Nick and who would pay the fees, I hope I pronounced that right, Jackson went quiet. I can't comment, he said. And I saw headlines yesterday, and maybe some of you in the chat can clarify that Nick waived his right to a speedy trial. Did any of you hear about that? Let me know in the comments and we'll talk about it. And then the article continues. It says, now a Reiner family insider has told the Daily Mail that the cash is indeed coming from Rob and Michelle's estate. The source, a lifelong family friend who was close to Rob's celebrated Hollywood actor, director, screenwriter, father Carl, said that grieving relatives have hired Jackson and some of the Reiners' estimated $200 million fortune is being used to save Nick from prison. They would rather Nick get locked up for life in a mental institution rather than be incarcerated, the source said. On Wednesday, Nick appeared in court in a suicide vest, his wrists shackled, as if to illustrate his mental fragility. The hearing had been delayed by a day, with Jackson saying Nick was unavailable to attend due for medical reasons. So that was the video that we went live, and I showed you the clip when Alan Jackson was standing outside the courthouse, and he said that Nick had not been medically cleared yet, and that is why he was not in the courtroom on Tuesday. Okay, so Lisa says, I really don't believe Jackson would want a speedy trial. Oh, Agatha says, imagine that trial, almost like OJ, the witnesses all Hollywood and whatnot. Yeah, and it seems that the the aid is coming not to try to get him off completely, but more about where will his life play out, which I think is an incredibly um how do you even describe it? What word do you say? Compassionate? And I don't even think compassionate is the right word. You all let me know in the comments what you think about how the Reiner family is making that type of stance. Now we don't know, is it who in the Reiner family is taking that stance? Is it siblings? Is it aunts and uncles? I don't know. Generous, generous, Shifty says. Okay, let's see the article, the rest of the article. It talks about how the tormented young man has had issues since childhood, the family friend said, with his struggles allegedly manifesting even before he discovered drugs. Nick's first stint in rehab was at the age of 15. He went on to have at least 17 more. He was always deeply troubled. Then he got into drugs, and the problem magnified to horrific levels. He made his parents' lives hell. On the surface, they had everything, but the tragedy of Nick was always lurking there in the background, and that worry never went away. They did everything to help that boy. And isn't that true of what the family is doing now, right? They're doing everything to help that boy, essentially, right? The reality is he had violent outbursts. Michelle told me about it. The family has been scared of him. He could be violent and super aggressive. Michelle would say, I don't know what else we could do. We can do. Um, Let's read this next part. It says, one looming question is what now happens to the rest of the family? Millions. Under California's Slayer statute, anyone who kills another person is automatically blocked from inheriting from their victim. But that does not stop relatives from chipping in. And the Reiner estate is prodigious. The couple who married in 1989 had 3 children together, Jake 34, Nick and Rami 27. Rob also had an adopted daughter, Tracy 61, from his first marriage to actress and director Penny Marshall. Yeah. Do you all want to see this surveillance footage? I can mute it so I don't get in trouble. So this is surveillance of him after the murder. Let's mute it. How come I can't mute it? Maybe, there we go. Let's play it again. I got in trouble the last time I played a Daily Mail article and the music was playing. YouTube was able to go in and erase just the music, but I don't want to do that again. So this shows him walking around after the murder. It looks like he's in a convenience store. It's a gas station convenience store. Not sure what he's looking for. It seems he's kind of aimless too, right? He doesn't know what he wants. It looks like he's holding a bottle of water, maybe. No Gatorade, maybe. Um, I haven't actually watched all this footage. I've seen clips of it, but never actually the raw footage. So that's how they arrested him. Here's more footage of that moment. I wonder how they found him just walking on the street that quickly, you know? They knew exactly where he was. And that Honda came like, look at that. That Honda was parked there. This Honda, was it? No, no, it's a different one. Wow. Okay, so let me close that. Let me see your comments. Um, waived right to speedy arraignment, Kathy says. Grammy Buck says, is it possible that someone else did it and they're just blaming him because he does have the mental illness and the drug issues? I'm not sure. This is all unfolding in real time. Did he not confess? I thought I heard people say he confessed. And, we've heard about how there were arguments that happened just hours before. Oh, that was a cop in the shop. He might have called him in. He was a regular there. Interesting, TMTB. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so let's go back to the Daily Mail. Let me refresh this page and see if any new article pops up, and there isn't. Oh no. I don't know that I want to read that article just because of the last two words. Well, the last sentence really says chilling new video of Nick Reiner making disturbing comments about murder as friend reveals dad Rob's tragic failed attempt to save him. Oh, goodness. Let's see. I clicked it. It said, and this was published on December 17th, but it was updated today. 11 years before he would be charged with the double murder of his own parents, a timid Nick Reiner walked into the Family Guy production offices with his famous dad by his side. The then 21-year-old was fresh out of rehab and hoping that breaking into the family business could be his saving grace. Rob himself, Nepo baby, I hope I pronounced that right, who had followed in his comedian father Carl Reiner's footsteps by cementing himself as a sitcom star on All in the Family, and then a director of beloved films such as When Harry Met Sally, pulled some strings to get his troubled son a gig on the famous cartoon show. In an exclusive interview with the Daily Mail, one of Nick's former colleagues said that in a somewhat desperate plea to Family Guy's executive producer, Rob said, "Hey, my son's coming out of rehab and getting back on his feet, and I want him to find a job." Nick was given an internship in which he was not supposed to do very much, per our source, who added, "This was clearly a favor for Rob, and I would speculate that there were some sort of terms. So I was working my butt off, but Nick would just sort of hang out. But he was lovely to have around." The former production assistant said Nick got along with his colleagues, and although he had introverted energy and was quiet, they also found him funny in a dark humored sort of way and interesting as he was transparent about his hardships. I'm not sure, Monarch, if they got a professional diagnosis. Chanson says, my gut instinct says Occam's razor on this one, the most simplest explanation, more likely, but you never know. Yep, TMTB says since he was an adult, there was only so much they could do. He is an adult with free will. Lisa says they had several professional diagnoses, but he decided that Nick knew better than the professionals. Do we want to watch this clip? I don't know. Oh, it looks inappropriate. I don't think I'm going to show the clip, but all of you can, if you want to look it up, you can, but I'm sure the article will describe the clip. Let's see what it says. It doesn't really say. It does say, though, much as with the job at Family Guy, Nick was able to easily book sets at big comedic venues per our source, given his pedigree. He wouldn't have been able to get those spots that he got unless he had his dad's influence, and he wouldn't have his job at Family Guy if he didn't have his dad's influence, the source said. That's what I keep coming back to, is that Rob was trying to see his son succeed. Yeah, that's what we have. Let's see what else is new here. I don't see really Let's now look at the Showbiz one because this is the Daily Mail exclusive. Let's look at Showbiz if there's anything there. Okay, so there's a headline where Rita Wilson, Tom Hanks' wife, insists that Robin wife Michelle did everything right. Do you all want to see that article? I feel like the headline pretty much says everything. It looks like this is the latest on Daily Mail. Let me do a Google search and see if there's any news there that is hot off the press. Share the tab so you can all see. 32 minutes ago, just a discussion of what was found. Yeah, not a whole lot new. Grammy Bug, they did do a conservatorship for Britney Spears. But I think it took a lot of legal work to get that done. And generally, when it's a conservatorship, it's not, from what I remember about the Save Britney articles and documentaries, that it's supposed to be some type of legal entity, I think, that is the conservator and not family. But let me know. Like, it's not supposed to be someone that could benefit financially, and definitely in Britney's case, it was. Let me know in the comments. Let's read this one in page 6, published today, just a couple of hours ago. An employee who works at Sinclair gas station in Brentwood area of California told TMZ that Nick looked tired and unusually standoffish about 2 weeks ago. The worker said Nick, who is usually social and friendly at the gas station, bought a pack of cigarettes and did not appear to be under the influence of drugs and alcohol. Yeah, let's see. Nothing really new. I mean, this is just someone saying 2 weeks ago he seemed fine. I would say this one is a nothing burger. I mean, any witness can come forward and say 2 weeks ago someone looked fine because moods change, attitudes change, and oh wait, they said he looked unusually quiet, but again, moods change. Yeah, he was unusually standoffish. A lot can happen though, I feel, in 2 weeks. Let's go read that other article. What's this one about? Okay, so this one was also published today. Let's see. I'm going to scroll through because we know a lot of this information. I want to find this that Daily Mail is telling us. What did they argue about? And what was Nick doing for 5 lost hours? Okay. So their sources claim they saw Nick behaving erratically and overheard father and son have an explosive argument in which Rob apparently rebuked him and said that his behavior was inappropriate. Mystery persists surrounding the spat at the festive party, as well as Nick's movements over the next 24 hours, leading to him in custody at the Twin Towers Correctional Facility in Los Angeles. So that was their answer. Yeah, we don't really know about the argument. All they told us is that his dad rebuked him, and still no answer about where he was for those 5 hours. Yeah, so I guess this is the latest news on what is going on with this Reiner family tragedy. I will keep my eyes and ears peeled. I will be reporting on it. Maybe I can do live streams and look through articles every day as things come forward. So keep an eye out for those. They may be kind of spontaneous, but we'll see because I want to make sure I cover it when it's breaking news and things are happening in real time. So thank you so much everyone for watching. If this was interesting to you, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you'll know every time I drop a new video. And I'm not done yet here. I was just recording this so that I could clip it out. I still want to chat with all of you, but let me finish up my last little thing and so I can clip it out later. Oh my goodness, I forget the next thing that I usually say. Uh, um, my brain is on fire. Okay. In lieu of super chats and super stickers, I would be, wait, sorry. This is what happens when I record, okay? This is why editing takes so long because it's like, what was I going to say? Oh, didn't like how that sounded. Say it again. What do I normally say here? Um, in lieu of super chats and super stickers, I'd love it if you would consider donating to the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Their information is on the screen should you need to reach out to them, and a link to donate is in the description of this video. I recognize that this is an organization that is present in the United States, and what I've done is created a carousel of images that are that list different organizations all across the world that play similar roles. So that will play at the very end of this video. Thank you so much for watching and I'll talk to you soon. Bye everybody. Okay, everyone, I'm back. You know, it's funny. My little pup, she recognizes that good, like when I say, please like and subscribe, she knows that that means I'm almost done recording. So right now she's at my feet. She's like, okay, you're done now. We can hang out now. My little girl. So cute. Yeah, so thank you everyone for being here with me and spending this time with me. I'm um I'm glad we were able I'm glad they moved it to Thursday because yesterday I would not have been able to live stream the sentencing, but it appears we have that done now. I'm going to keep my eyes and ears peeled to see if we hear any interviews from the prosecution or the defense or any of the family and friends as they come forward. I also want to go back and zoom in on that very last frame. In fact, why don't we do that right now? What do you all think about that? Let's go back to the footage and I want to look at who was in the courtroom. That is what I want to do. Let's go to NBC 10. Okay. And let me share my screen so we can all look at it together. Okay, everybody, you're good? All right. So no. Okay. No. Okay, this is where we want to. I don't really recognize faces. Do you? There's Anna's sister. There's Diana Walsh wearing bright pink. Is that an appropriate choice? I don't know. I don't think so. Let's press play again and pause. I could have sworn, see, isn't that Sergeant Keefe? And there's Harrison Schmidt. look at how law enforcement actually is standing with Anna's sister. I just noticed that. So a lot of these people must have been people that were on the case. Yeah, let's continue, see if we recognize anybody else. I don't really. No, nobody. Sorry, I keep pausing and playing. Some of these people look familiar, but I can't place them. That's it. That's all we saw, everybody. Yeah. So that's the rest of our investigative work. Um, Diana Walsh standing in the front, closer to the front, and behind her, the entire team that investigated. Well, a number of people that were in charge of the investigation, we saw them standing right back there. It almost seems um, in a protective way, in a cocooning way around Anna's sister. So, yeah, hopefully we will start hearing more publicly, more openly now that the trial is over and a verdict has been given. And yeah, I want to thank you all so much for going through this experience with me. I think I'll also clip out the most important parts of this sentencing and repost those as well. So, thank you again everybody so much for being here. And yeah, I will talk to you all soon. Bye everybody. Oops, where's the button? Sorry. Oh my goodness. All right everybody. Thank you so much.